Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name is Tyler, and today I'm excited to announce that I have started my next certification. It will be the seventh certification so far. And if you couldn't tell from the board right here, it is the AZ900, which is the fundamental certification for Azure Cloud. So I wanted to make a video and talk about what I'm going to do to study, how I'm feeling about this certification as a whole, and additionally what I've already done to study because this upload is a few weeks late, as I was on vacation and didn't really get around to making a video when I first started this certification. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to kick things off, I want to talk about what my first impressions are so far studying it and how I'm feeling about the exam as a whole, and hopefully this can help anybody else out there that's going for the AZ900 that might have prior cloud experience prepare accordingly. The first thing that I want to mention is being a foundational level exam. It's not going to go super in depth into any of the cloud services or architecture concepts or any of that stuff. It's all going to be pretty high level as far as the technical knowledge goes. And it will be a super wide exam. It's going to cover a lot of different services. As I've seen, it goes through storage, compute, networking, security, pretty much all of them. Well, not all the services in Azure, but all of the categories of services. So there is still a lot of content in this exam, but none of it's going to really be super deep. Another thing that comes with it being a foundational level cloud exam is a fair portion of the content you're tested on is foundational cloud concepts. And those are concepts that aren't specific to Azure. It's more just specific to cloud as a whole. Things like understanding software as a service versus platform as a service versus infrastructure as a service, and shared responsibility models, and what is cloud computing. So if you already have a foundational level exam or you've been in the tech world for a little bit, a lot of that is going to be pretty easy to go over. And in my studying, I found that as well. I was pretty much able to breeze through about a third of the exam content so far, just because I've already taken the cloud practitioner, which provided me with all of that information already. Now, even though this is a higher level exam and it won't be as intricate as something like the Kubernetes certifications or the Solutions Architect Associate by AWS, I'm still going to be very diligent in my studying. I want to make sure I go through all of the content in multiple forums, things like books and video courses and practice tests, to make sure I'm able to pass this exam, and more importantly, make sure I actually build those strong Azure fundamentals before moving on to the more difficult Azure certifications. And that's a great transition into what have I done to study so far, and then what am I going to do with my next month or so to study and prepare for this exam. So far, I have watched the Udemy course all the way through, written by Scott Duffy. If you're just watching this video and you want to take the AZ900, the course is like $120 off right now, so killer deal to pick it up. And I think it's a great course. It's the highest one recommended on Udemy, so I'm not alone in that, but very clear presentation of the topics. Didn't seem super in depth. I'm not sure if it's in depth enough right now. We'll see when I get to practice questions if it is enough. So that's still a little bit up in the air. But first impressions, I really enjoyed the course. I thought it was a great first step in studying for this exam. So following that up, I went ahead and picked up a textbook. This is the AZ900 study guide written by Steve Miles. I'm most of the way through it. I still have about, I think, 70-ish pages left. It is definitely more in depth than the Udemy course. Again, it's hard for me to know if it's overkill or if this book is a better resource than that Udemy course. So, still finishing this guy up, but should be done later this week. The last thing I've done so far is I've gone about halfway through the Microsoft Learn track for the AZ900. I think it's great training. It is a little bit dry, doesn't have a ton of visuals, and you are reading on a computer screen, which this is all personal preference, but I don't love reading on a computer screen, so don't love that aspect, but it's hard to argue when you get training material from the people administering your exam. So definitely going to go all the way through that. Next, I want to talk about how I'm going to spend my last month or so preparing for this exam to maximize my odds of passing on the first try, because of course that is the goal. So of course I'm going to finish the Microsoft Learn, like I said. I'm going to finish this textbook. After I finish reading through this, it does come with practice questions, so I'm going to go through these practice questions, and depending on how they go, I'm going to do one of two things. A, if I do really, really well and it's just a breeze and everything makes sense, I'm just going to go ahead and watch through the Udemy course again and not take notes or do anything too crazy with it. However, if I go through these practice questions and I do really poorly or I have knowledge gaps, I'm going to go ahead and go back through this and reread the sections that I didn't understand clearly or I got questions incorrect on. And then I'm also going to rewatch the Udemy course and take notes to make sure I fill all of those knowledge gaps. Regardless of if A or B happens, after that I'm going to go ahead and get some practice tests. I'm going to go ahead and do the one by Scott Duffy that came with the Udemy course I bought. And then additionally, I'm going to go ahead and use the ones from Tutorials Dojo. The reason I'm choosing them is they had really high quality questions for the Solutions Architect Associate back when I took that. So I really trust their ability to develop accurate and in-depth practice questions that will maximize your odds of success. So that's pretty much the entire study plan I have laid out. If you guys have any other suggestions or resources that you think I should check out, by all means drop them in the comments. With all that being said, I will leave it off here. If you want to follow my no degree journey through the tech industry, go ahead and subscribe. And of course, as always, leave a comment. I love talking to you guys.